The Betway Premiership is finally back in action. First game of the first round of games or return matches, if you will, from the international break. We actually started off on a Friday with Mamelodi Sundowns taking on Isekukune. However, there was a catch-up game because they were actually it was the Nedbank Cup match that was rescheduled, and they had to catch up. Even though there was a bit of controversy, the coach and the technical team wasn't too happy that they felt that the game was not supposed to be played. But some of the games or the players were actually coming back from international break, and they have an important game in CAF Champions League next week. Kaizer Chiefs were also back in action against Golden Arrows. Pirates was on a holiday or was on a break because they have also an important game which they're playing away in Algeria against the MC Algiers, so that they call it. So welcome back, guys. That's what we're going to be covering on this video. Very quickly, for those who keep on coming back to the channel, want to appreciate you. And I also want to say, please, if you like what we talk about in terms of the content, don't forget to like, don't forget to share, and also leave your comments, guys. Let's have the conversation. A lot of things to talk about or to cover today. But I'd like to start from the very, very top on Friday, which was Mamelodi Sundowns playing against Isekukune. So, interesting game, very interesting game. Went all the way to extra time, played almost 120 minutes. Not almost, but they played 120 minutes actually. But you can tell that a lot of players. Well, okay, let's start with the Sundowns setup or the lineup, if you will. Well, with them, what we've seen or what we've expected is that a lot of changes. We don't know if they're going to use, because remember, a lot of players from Sundowns are actually were from or used in the national team. So they were coming back from international duty. So you would expect a bit of rotation from the coach himself, because they do have depth and they do have a big squad. So I think what was unfortunate is that the match did drag. But hats off to Sekukune, and man of the match indeed was the goalkeeper, because in my eyes as well. First off, they did apply themselves very good. I think they were relying on the counter at most, but it was a better showing in terms of them applying themselves, because I think the first half they did apply high press, did make Sundowns a bit more uncomfortable. They had to build a bit faster at times, come out of those spaces defensively so they can rush the ball for the attack. But it becomes a bit slower and slower as when the match went on. I think maybe it's tired legs. I didn't see much creativity from Isekukune though, so I would have expected them to create a bit more chances. But to be fair, first half was more towards their side. So Sundowns, there was not really much um, for them to apply themselves going forward. I guess also it's because there was a lot of changes. We saw Maema after a long time. Sales as a striker there up front. Ribeiro was actually dropped. So most of the regulars were actually rested. I'm guessing for next week's match. So, but even so, for me, there was a bit of change. Just to mention that, because most of the time, what we've seen is that Sundowns really, even if they change most of the time in terms of personnel, the players themselves do really come in, and it doesn't seem that there was much of it, or is there much of a difference, if you will. And this is in the past. This is Rolani days and Mangroba days. We've always seen them as, that's why we say they have depth, because they always seem like a club that doesn't really change much in terms of performance, even though some players would be rested. So I guess that's why now the coach was alluding to the fact that that match shouldn't have happened, in a sense. But for me, they were asking a lot of questions. I think later in the second half, we saw the game opening up. There was a decision, an offside decision or so, that was not called, was correct or incorrect. And Sundowns started opening Sekukune up a bit. I did feel they were wasting too much time, though. I don't know if there was a tactical decision from their side to push it all the way to penalties, even though they started well. So I was a bit disappointed in regards to that, because they gave us a good game to look into. Not much goals, as you would expect, because it is a quarterfinal. And I don't know, man, when it comes to our league, because you would find that most of the players were rested. We criticize Kaiser Chiefs a lot when he says they have 2 weeks, so most of the players were just resting. But for they, you would think they would be the team that has much more energy, and a lot of preparation came into play in terms of tactics and all these things. Well, Tickler is a smart coach, and you saw that. I think for them it was more of frustrating Sundowns than more than anything, or wanting to win it all the way. So Sundowns did play like a big team, and they showed because there was a lot of changes. I mean, Spona Tunielwa, I think Utiwan Ubelo again on the left, a bit more second half. Onumashi Terence as well. Cupido got a chance, and so on. So there's a lot of players that also were given a fringe, if you call them players. So that's why I think there wasn't a bit clean as you would actually like from a Sundowns perspective. So about Ribeiro came in the second half, and you could see there's a bit of impetus, wanting to win the game and wrapping up very quickly. So it's interesting how they're going to set up Tuesday, because they're playing a home game at the very least. I think that's why they were meant to play this game. But in our league's defense, this game has been dragging, and remember the sponsorships that you have to you please and all these things. So I think there was maybe the league themselves were under pressure. So I think maybe that's the only advantage that they have. They're playing Esperance. It's the first leg of the CAF Champions League. Esperance did actually defeat, I think, Sundown last season. So there's a bit of history between these two teams. So Sundowns as well did defeat them in the AFL. So there's a lot of talking points, but I think the only advantage, if you correct me if I'm wrong, the only advantage is Sundowns' hands in that game coming on Tuesday is the fact that Esperance is a new coach. But apart from that, still number 2 in the league. I think they just won a trophy. So they'll be high in confidence, but for Sundowns, they need to keep them at bay, at least when they play the second leg away. They need a goal at that side. But it's advantageous for us because they're playing the first leg away from home. So that game, it's there's much to see what's going to happen. But all the best, I'm behind Sundowns. They're representing us well. They're chasing that second star. So yeah, pretty much that's the wrap up for Friday. It's an opening game, so you can tell that a lot of players were a bit, I wouldn't say unfit, or there was a bit of fitness because they're cramping a lot. I'm not too sure it's because of they haven't played in 2 weeks or so. So that's all I have from the Soundland games. Now, Saturday, ish. Before we get into that, let's talk about Pirates a bit because that one is a bit sad. So Pirates didn't play anything, and a lot of fans were worried with why couldn't they have actually played weekend. But they're playing away, I understand, even though they'll blame Koza for, protecting Pirates a bit too much and all these things. But that match against Algiers, they sold out the match in like 9 or 10 hours or so. So it's already sold out. So it's an interesting game because remember both Sundowns and Pirates are through to the quarterfinals, right? Pirates were top of their group, and they could meet in the final. That's one thing that's interesting about this season in CAF. We have 3 teams in CAF, Stellenbosch as well in the CAF Confederations quarterfinal. So Pirates and Sundowns, if should they win their ties, they can make it all the way and they can meet each other in the finals. It could be interesting to see. So Pirates hasn't really been. They've been playing in the Confed. I think they played a final 2 seasons back. So they've had a good run, and they've had a good run. Fairly so in the national team, or when you have head-to-head matches against North African teams. Recently, we've been doing good. We had a very, very good record against them. I mean, even I think against they played against CR, and they managed to get a result away from home, and I think they got a draw in Orlando. So this one for them is an advantage because they're playing the first leg away from home. So they can avoid a defeat or at least get a draw or a goal there that side. And then they coming back to Orlando, it's stupid. Then that's when I think we're gonna see a game, definitely, which I think they're gonna play it the following week. So it's a good year for South African teams, man. It's a very, very good year. I think our football footprint has gotten us where we are, and our football really now, the world is watching us. So these two teams, for them to really do good, it's equally important. Mbonu Saleng was on the social media. I think he was training with the team. I don't know what's going on there. They need him. For me, they need him. He's a match winner. You can't play with kids for this long, man. I mean, they've been playing with Umkota for so long. Look, potential, they've got it on lock. Don't get me wrong, Fukeng is good. I just think that right flank, they just need experience. They need a match winner. You know, Abu Mabasa, Mahopa, that attack sometimes is lethargic. Like you could feel that they need a bit more, and which is what Saleng can bring to the table. So that game is interesting to see how they're going to set up the lineup itself, who are they going to pick, and because they're very on form and song at the moment, they look very, very strong. For me, if I would choose, I would tip Paris to win this one, that tie, because they already have an advantage playing away from home in the first leg. They just need to avoid a big scoreline. They should be caught. But look, Algerians or North Africans teams, they play with a lot of width. So I'm not expecting them to. I'm not too worried, but it is a quarterfinal, so it can go either way. And MC Algiers, look, it's not a bad team. So all the best to Pirates, and we'll drop a post-match or reaction video after that game on Tuesday. I think they both playing at the same time or the same day. I'm hoping. So we'll cover that video for both matches. Now, coming back to Amakos. Yeah, man. I don't know. Cheesy, but I don't know what's going on with that team, eh? I don't know what's going on with the team, but it's high time now we start. I think not criticizing, but critiquing the coach at this point. 23 games, 10 losses, 4 draws, goal difference of -5. I mean, that alone tells you a story. 6 games to play. In his first season, he had a preseason, a very, very good preseason in Turkey. 10 new players that he signed, 9 players that left. And I guess now, for me, it's high time we have sober conversations about the technical team. Remember, Nteki, Atazwan Nteki, CJ, they didn't have a technical team. They just came in as an emergency kind of thing. I think Nteki Nai was a last minute thing. Atazwan also came in as a last minute thing. So all those coaches didn't have a good technical team, and probably preparing for or having a preseason wasn't the best. Even Tiki, when he came in, I think he had 2 months, although they didn't have much players to pick from or have a choice of signing any players for him, for his own or for himself. CJ had the same problem, Kevin Johnson. Unabi had everything that a coach could need to start analyzing the squad. And remember, he had made comments that he was actually already analyzing the team 6 months before. So with the kind of performances and the results that we are getting, I'm not seeing anything different from the last 3 coaches that have actually come in to at least help us out. Hear me out. I'm not saying Nabi is a bad coach. All I'm saying is there's not much of a difference from these other coaches that he has come in with a new technical team and new players that he would have had a hand in agreeing to some extent that this and the third. We're not saying Kaiser Chief doesn't have or does have material, but I don't think the players that we have are as bad as what we're seeing now, in a sense that they can't compete against the other 16 teams. To again having to compete for a top 8 spot, not chasing a CAF spot, not knowing you're playing against Sundowns. Sundowns just won against Sekhukhune. You're playing against Sundowns in the semi-final of Nedbank. No way he's going to win that game. He's already lost 3 times against Sundowns in one season. So it begs the question to say, do we now start questioning the credentials of the coach? Do we now start questioning that even if we were to give him quality players, is he the right person for the job? Because the way I'm seeing things going, it's gonna be a thing of the thing, same thing of the past. We need more time, but based on the players that we see, we there has to be some sort of foundation that comes in, and you see what is able or was capable of doing. I mean, the selection it keeps on making, the midfield keeps changing every 3 games. I mean, these textbook errors these players are keep on making, the same kind of errors they were doing in Arthur's this time. I would over they're doing the same thing that Arthurson was crying about. They're doing the same thing with chances. And others one, if you can check the stats, same thing. We had the most box entries, opportunities created. There was even Opto Chabo giving us stats and all these things, but conversion was bad. And we are thinking, you coming with a technical team, maybe you have an assistant coach that can help the strikers to gain confidence, create drills, whatever the case may be, so that they can have a better conversion rate. See a bit of a difference from Maputo Pre, Ranga, you brought in an injury pro, Nassif Morris. At least Lilepo it's not a bad player. Kele is the only signing that kind of makes sense to us at this point. All the rest of the players, Abo Miguel, they've joined the club as well, came in, showed a bit of difference in quality. Now all of a sudden it's like the rest of the crop. I must say though, there is a goalkeeping crisis in our team. There is a goalkeeping crisis. Bruce has been with the team for more than 10 years. He's been an understudy. No difference in that club. No difference in that player. No difference in him coming in and being given the opportunity to actually show a bit of a difference. He's not comfortable on his feet, and he doesn't change his ways of ball distribution. If you're going to use the same drill of wanting to build from the back, when they're pressing us, we panic, and you can tell that Bruce is not the best. Not to mention how we defend crosses, how to defend set pieces. It's a disaster. Against Richards Bay, that's the same kind of susceptible mistakes that we are making. So when you start to question a lot of things, it's a culmination of things from my side. It's players, technical team, and management having to be able to have a hand in how they are saying we must support the Nabi project. I think now it starts. We have to be sober. It's high time now we start really having a very hot discussion about is Nabi the right coach to turn things around at Kaiser Chiefs? Is he really the right coach to turn things around? Why couldn't he have an assistant coach of a South African assistant coach? Already language is a barrier. I mean, all these players, I mean, we've given everyone a chance now, apart from Sam Lukwinika. But most of the players have been given a chance. Abom Tetwa, you don't see any difference. Kela, I repeat, Kela is still the only player that we have that shows us that when he's there in our midfield, kind of seems like it makes sense. Can we move forward from Umarti? Can something happen? Can we please move forward from Umarti? Because now, for the next 6 games, there's pressure because there's Tex Galaxy there and there's Pirates. The rest of the other teams, can we really beat them? Is it realistic now? So there's pressure. We've got semi-finals in Nedbank against Sundowns. And this technical team doesn't seem to change a lot of things because you've had players doing the same thing over a period of time, but you're very slow in changing your approach. We still play a high line at most times. Most of the players or most of the teams have picked that up. Supersport, Golden Arrows, I think those 2 games were important. Even Sundowns, the first game, they beat us the same way. But we're not changing. So when you have a top coach or high quality coach, you're expecting for them to really grind and analyze these clubs, or themselves rather, in terms of where their weaknesses are. But seemingly they still make the same mistakes game after game after game. For me, 10 games was enough to really understand what was Nabi trying to do. Yes, I could see a bit of a difference, but that's what Zwane was trying to do. Uzwane was actually trying to do the same thing, play the Kaiser Chiefs way. But we gave you players that at least can give you something. We're not saying we gave you high quality or top quality players. So the second season coming, as my parting shot, I'm a bit concerned in the fact that we're going to have the same story. You need more time. It's because we don't have enough players. We're not saying we want to win the league, but at the very least, I think a mandate needs now to be given to him, because maybe that's where the problem is in thinking that fans have the patience enough to wait for 2 or 3 seasons to gain silverware. I can tell you now, Makosi, for free, forget about anything. We're not going to win anything this season. At the very least, I'm even scared to say, because it doesn't look like we're going to qualify for the top 8. It's going to be another number 10 situation, depending, because seemingly you can't even get 30 points. So there's a lot to do. There's a lot of work that needs to be done at Kaizer Chiefs. There's a lot of work. We have to leave excitement and hopeful thinking and all these things out of the window. Kaizer Chiefs management, technical team, they need to start looking at themselves, sitting down and being honest in terms of what they'd like to do with that club. Because it seems like the fans love the club, or other people outside love the club more than what they would like to see and do and see this club achieving things, because they're falling way back. They are falling way back in terms of them. They are still taking 10 steps back, and it's going to take them another 5 years to end up realizing that actually, I don't know. But guys, that's why I'll leave it. I'd like to hear your thoughts. So please leave a comment. What do you think in terms of your clubs, whether it's a Pirates analysis, whether it's about the Sundowns? What do you think of the chances in CAF and what that means for the country, and what's going on with the Kaizer Chiefs? I've run out of ideas in terms of what can we do or what can be done to fix the club. So yeah, let's talk about it in the next video. And thank you so much. Shap shap.